What's up guys, AD back with another Destiny Child video, and in today's video everyone, we are going to be overviewing the update note for our October 13th, 2022 update on Destiny Child Global, which does feature the very anticipated Guilty Gear Strive collaboration details, as well as tons of other information such as the new system featuring Spacewalk and Cluster Lord, as well as the puppets and diorama. So tons of information to overview in today's video, but before we get started, make sure to leave a like on this video, as well as be sure to subscribe to the channel, and of course if you haven't yet done so already, make sure to check out channel memberships down below if you're interested in further supporting the channel, and of course a huge thank you to all of the members that have joined so far. But with all of that being said, let's get started here with the update note for October 13th, 2022. As you can see from the summary here, we do have a ton of information. So first up here everyone, we do have the new world boss trial featuring Soul as our boss units. As you can see, the world boss battle period will begin after the October 13th maintenance and last up until October 24th for UTC. As for the magic mirror shop, it will be open until October 27th 8 UTC. This season's world boss is fire type Soul, and the booster childs are 5-star water type Ramlethal and 5-star Millia. As for the booster percentages, we do have Ramlethal at a 60% boost at +0, and Millia here at a 30% boost for her +0 status. As for Ramlethal, she does scale to 120% at +6, and Millia here does scale to 48%. Next up here everyone, we do have the narrative dungeon, which will begin after the October 13th maintenance and last up until October 27th 8 UTC. As for the booster childs for the narrative dungeon, we do have 5-star Millia at a 60% boost at +0, scaling to a 120% boost at +6, and for Ramlethal here, she will be a 30% boost at +0 and scale to 48% at +6. As for the collection rewards, unfortunately we won't be able to obtain a copy of Millia throughout the narrative dungeon, so you will have to summon Millia as well as Ramlethal. As for Soul, of course he will be free throughout the world boss trial, so you'll just need to make sure to summon up Ramlethal as well as Millia, as there won't be a collaboration child featured in the narrative dungeon collection completion rewards. Next up here everyone, we do have the new systems featuring Spacewalk and Cluster Lord. As for what is Spacewalk, you can enter Spacewalk through the home screen into the world map, and Spacewalk tests your strength for the corresponding rewards. Passing through the nebula, which consists of 8 planets, and crossing the boundaries of the cluster, a powerful Cluster Lord appears. By clearing the nebula, you can obtain various rewards such as soul cartas, puppet materials, crystals, and others. Daily rewards such as cluster tickets can also be earned based on how far you've cleared Spacewalk, and after clearing the nebula, you can finally fight the giant nebula boss, a 5% giant boss battle. As for the notes here, we have zones that have been entirely cleared cannot be played again. Daily rewards are reset every day at 4 UTC, and you must acquire the rewards before the reset. Rewards lost due to the reset cannot be recovered. As for what is Cluster Lord is 20-person giant boss, which you can sort of think of as a world boss and where you will use 20 childs. It is a powerful giant boss that appears when you clear the cluster. You can use a special ticket to challenge it, which is gained as a daily reward from the Spacewalk or made at the Hecate Forge. So as you can see, you can challenge the Cluster Lord here, being Fancy Tiwaz, and you'll have to use a ticket to challenge her. You can challenge by setting the difficulty level. More rewards can be obtained at the higher difficulty levels, and after the battles are over, you will be rewarded according to the current remaining HP. As for the puppet and diorama, what is puppet? A puppet is a cursed doll made using soul fragments. It can be equipped to a child of the same type or displayed in my room and head into the diorama. When a puppet is attached to a child, an additional effect is given to the equipped child's skill. When a puppet is displayed in a diorama, the additional effect of the diorama will be provided to all childs. Puppets can be created through the Hecate Forge in the Forging Recipes tab in the Knight's World. As you can see on screen here, you will need the forging materials as well as a ton of gold here to craft a puppet. Forging materials for each recipe grade are required. They can be obtained from various contents and shops. As for what is diorama, the puppet diorama is a special model made to gather and utilize the power of of the puppets. Each diorama has a different battle effect, which can be activated by placing puppets. So as you can see here, they do have 5 puppets placed, and they are gaining the effect of drive skill damage defense plus 2% for all allies, and this will be applied to all childs. Now to activate a diorama, you must put a puppet in all slots of the diorama, and all activated diorama effects get automatically applied to battles. So of course this is a ton of information to take in, so I'll definitely make sure to post a guide discussing the new system once I do begin to understand it a bit more myself, so make sure to stay tuned for the guides on the puppet system as well as Cluster Lord and the Spacewalk areas of Destiny Child. Next up here everyone, we do have new stories being added to the Hecate's library, as well as the Rebirth Labyrinth will be receiving an update, as we'll have 14 Packmaker costumes arrive for the 3 to 5 star childs, which will be added after the October 13th maintenance. So it's been quite a while, but we are finally receiving some new costumes in the Rebirth Lab. As you can see on screen, we do have 5-star Packmaker costumes for Frey, Neardy, Thetis, Wyatt, Theophano, Messier, and Artemisia. As for the 4-star childs, we have Neith, Pomona, and Thoth. And for the 3-star childs, we have Lisa, Iris, Vesta, and Pita. Now moving on to the new childs everyone, we do have the 5-star fire type defender Soul. Now Soul can only be obtained in between October 13th after maintenance and up until October 27th 8 UTC. So here's Soul on screen before awakening, and here is Soul after awakening. As for the skill set of Soul, we do have his rank 1 skill set on screen. As for the tap skill here, Gun Flame, dealing 331 damage to the target and create a 60% chance of smite, stun, and skill damage defense minus 15% on 2 enemies burned or scalded for 4 seconds. As for the slide skill here, Volcanic Viper, dealing 627 damage to the target and grants a 56% chance of immortality, cannot drop below 1 HP, inflict taunt, chance to activate 90%, and grants flame shield, target defense plus 45%, inflict defense minus 50%, and scald 200 damage over time for 12 seconds when attacked to self for 12 seconds long. As for the drive skill here, Heavy Mob Cemetery, dealing 1582 damage to 3 enemies, priority lowest HP, has a 70% chance of smite for 5 seconds, and create a 100% chance of immortality to 3 fire type allies, priority lowest HP, for 12 seconds long. As for the leader buff here, grants fortitude removed upon taking 2 physical attacks to 5 fire type allies at the beginning of a battle. So Soul here is a fire type defender, and he actually does manage to be a decent child here introduced with the Guilty Gear collab. I would say he's actually a viable fire type defender if you would like to use him, but he actually does have a chance to be used in the world boss trial due to his slide skill here actually having defense minus 50%, which is honestly massive, and you'll probably see him float around in world boss trials from now on until he does manage to be replaced at some point. So he actually does seem promising here. At rank 1 stats, defense minus 50% is honestly very massive, and of course as a tank he does have immortality, taunt, as well as the flame shield here, and of course he does have smite on his tap skill as well as the drive skill. So definitely a pretty strong fire type defender here in Soul, so make sure to get your copies of Soul throughout his world boss trial. Next up here everyone, we do have the 5-star water type debuffer Ramlethal. So there she is on screen in her before awakening live 2D costume, and here is Ramlethal in her after awakening costume as well. As for the rank 1 skill sets of Ramlethal here everyone, we do have the water type debuffer with the tap skill dealing 411 damage to 1 random enemy and the debuff evasion minus 20% for 12 seconds. As for the slide skill here, dealing 727 damage to 2 enemies, priority fire type, inflict attack steal, attack minus 10% for the target, and attack plus 20% for all ally attacker childs for 12 seconds long, and defense minus 1500 for fire type enemies for 12 seconds on world bosses. As for the drive skill here, dealing 2101 damage to 3 enemies, priority fire type, and inflict debuff evasion minus 25% and attack steal minus 20% for 16 seconds. And for the leader buff here, defense minus 15% for all enemies plus minus 15% for fire type enemies. So Ramlethal here is definitely an amazing world boss trial debuffer. She is actually top tier and does manage to overpower Lady Bathory, the wood type debuffer for the world boss trials now. So you could expect Ramlethal to be used in every single world boss trial moving forward, as of course her slide skill here is very strong, and she does happen to scale very well with ignition. So definitely I would say Ramlethal is the best unit out of the 3 upcoming collaboration characters. Make sure to get your hands on this character, as she'll definitely be used in World Boss Trials from now on, as she does have a very amazing skill set here and will be used in all future World Boss Trials. And just to take into account here, when she actually does happen to reach fully ignited status, the defense minus will be applied to all types of World Boss Trials, so she won't be exclusively used in Fire World Boss events. She'll actually flex to all Elements World Bosses once you do happen to ignite this character to full ignition. Next up here, we do have the 5-star light type supporter in Millia, as you can see her on screen in her Before Awakening costume, and here is Millia in her After Awakening costume as well. As for the skill set of Millia here, we do have the tap skill Bad Moon, dealing 400 damage to the target, a 60% chance to fully charge one random ally's skill gauge, and for the slide skill here, dealing 737 damage to 2 random enemies, and grants skill gauge charge speed plus 50% to 3 allies, lowest attack for 16 seconds, and debuff evasion plus 15% for 3 light type allies, lowest HP for 16 seconds long, and evasion plus 30% to 3 light type allies, lowest HP in PvP for 16 seconds long. As for the drive skill here, dealing 1901 damage to 3 random enemies, and grants nullify cancelled in 14 seconds or after 1 incoming debuff attacks to 5 light type allies, lowest HP, and has a 100% chance of instantly resetting cooldown. And for the leader buff here, debuff evasion plus 18% for light type allies, debuff evasion plus 12% for light type allies in PvP. So I would definitely say Millia here is a pretty great light type supporter as well. It's hard to rank all 3 of these collaboration childs, but I would definitely put Ramlethal as the best of the 3, followed by Soul and Millia here last. Now it's not to say Millia is bad by any means, as she actually is a pretty great light type supporter. So I would say all 3 collaboration childs coming with this Guilty Gear Strive event will be very useful in their dedicated game modes. Of course, you'll tend to see Ramlethal and possibly Soul in the World Boss Trials, and you should expect to see Millia floating around on some light type teams. So definitely very exciting here for the upcoming collaboration units. Make sure to get your hands on all 3 of them, as of course they won't be obtainable after October 27th. Next up here, everyone, we do have the buffs to water type attacker Bari. We are actually receiving her buffs early here on the Destiny Child global server, and she does happen to be an amazing water type attacker now for the World Boss Trial events. So for the tap skill here, we have deal 3042 damage to 2 random enemies, has a 95.6% chance of recovery block except vampirism, HP drain for 14 seconds. As for the slide skill here, dealing 4540 196.2% damage to 2 enemies, priority buffed 2 times, dealing 2205 ignore defense damage, and inflict brand 345 damage over time every 4 seconds in proportion to the target's buff count plus 1 for 20 seconds. And for the drive skill here, dealing 8682 damage to 4 random enemies, inflict debuff blast if they're debuffed, and deal 700 bonus damage to buffed enemies. As for the leader buff here, slide skill damage plus 20% for water type allies. So Bari is actually very amazing now for the fire type World Boss Trial events. She'll be very strong alongside Cassia as a water type attacker ally. So Bari will be very useful in the upcoming World Boss Trial events featuring Soul, and of course in all future fire type World Boss Trials as well. So make sure to raise your Bari to full ignition if you would like to take full advantage of this character. But even if you don't have her ignited, she'll be a very strong water type attacker for our upcoming event. Next up here, everyone, we do have the new costumes arriving with this update as well, featuring the first tier of Hellfire God Soul. So of course this will be for the fire type defender Soul that is obtainable throughout the World Boss Trial. As for the costume here, we're not quite sure where we can obtain this one. I would expect it to be a paid package, but in the best case scenario, hopefully it's a free costume. Next up here, everyone, we do have Spirit Guide Bari, which will be added to the costume shop after the November 10th update. But of course, Bari will be obtainable throughout the Land Face Premium shop in a package. So if you would like to purchase this costume for your Bari, it'll be available there, or you can wait until after November 10th, and where it will be obtainable for 240 blood gems in the Rebirth Lab shop. But definitely an amazing design here for Bari. I can't wait to get my hands on this one, as this costume does look very beautiful. Next up here, everyone, we do have the hot spring costume for Soul. So there it is on screen. It actually does manage to be live 2D here for the collaboration costume for Soul. Next up, everyone, we do have the live 2D spa spring costume for Ramlethal. So live 2D once again, and definitely a very amazing looking one here for Ramlethal. And last but not least, everyone, we do have the hot spring costume for Millia here. Of course, live 2D as well, just like the other two arriving with this collaboration. As for the new Soul Cartas, everyone, we'll only be overviewing the collaboration ones in this video, as there are actually a ton arriving with the new spacewalk system. So if you would like to see the Soul Cartas outside of the collaboration event, I'll be sure to have the update note linked in the description box below of this video. But first up here, we do have the 5-star I'll Go Anywhere With My Friends, and this can be acquired through the Maze Emergency Support, which will be running from October 13th after maintenance up until October 27th 8 UTC. So here's the arts featuring May on screen, looking very cute. I do love this Soul Carta so much, and it would have been amazing if she was a character arriving with this event, but we are receiving a Soul Carta featuring May, and for the option here, it's a pretty decent one. We do have increased stun evasion by 22% in PvP, exclusive for healers. Next up here, everyone, we do have 5-star hyper energetic martial fighter, which can be acquired from summons and the shop, which will be running from October 13th after maintenance up until October 27th 8 UTC. And this Soul Carta does feature Jacko on the art. Of course, a very beautiful Soul Carta art here as well. I do wish Jacko was a character arriving with this event, but unfortunately she isn't, but we do have a Soul Carta featuring her nonetheless. As for the option here, we do have increased evasion against debuff by 13% when equipped on 20-person giant bosses, exclusive for water types. As for the summons, everyone, just to let you all know, we will have a guaranteed upon summoning banner for Ramlethal as well as Millia, and of course a solo pickup summon for Soul here if you would like to obtain more copies of him outside of the World Boss Trial Magic Mirror shop. We will also have a 1% banner for Ramlethal as well as Millia once you do get through those guaranteed upon summoning banners for Millia as well as Ramlethal. Also, be sure to check out the Soul Carta banners, as of course the hyper energetic martial fighter Soul Carta featuring Jacko on the arts will only be available through this summon and of course the premium shop. As for the events here, everyone, we do have Maze Emergency Support, which will begin on October 13th after maintenance and last up until October 27th for UTC. So make sure to log in during the event to get daily rewards for 7 days and the final reward on the last day. As of course you can see here, we will receive tons of stamina as well as lanterns, onyx, and of course enough copies to +5 the collaboration Carta. Now personally, I won't be using these to uncap the Prism version. I'll just keep them as separate copies, as of course you won't be able to obtain this Carta after the collaboration is over. So I would suggest just keeping this Carta as 6 separate copies, just in case it does come in handy in the future. Next up here, the Scarlet shop will have a 50% discount after maintenance up until November 10th until maintenance. So all of the products in the Scarlet shop will be half off during the event period. Next up, we will have the Rebirth challenge event. Details: play Rebirth Labyrinth to get Rebirth coins and galaxy napping places. As you can see on screen, all of the rewards that are available through the event. As for the others tab, we do have the maximum candidate level increases. The maximum candidate level will be expanded from level 90 to 100. The basic stamina reserve will be expanded from 484 to 584. The number of part groups will be increased from 11 to 12. And most importantly here, the number of friend slots will increase from 80 to 90. We also do have here, you can now sweep event dungeons by selecting the difficulty. So as you can see here on screen, you can select which difficulty you would like to sweep for event dungeons now. And for a tiny change here as well, the following phrases in the skill descriptions and Soul Carta options will be changed. Raid will be transferred to 5-person giant boss, and world bosses will be changed to 20-person giant boss. So that'll pretty much do it for the October 13th 2022 update note featuring the Guilty Gear Strive collaboration event, as well as the new system Spacewalk and Cluster Lord, Puppets, and Diorama. So make sure to let me know in the comment section below if you are hyped for the collaboration event. Overall, I'm very excited for this update and I can't wait for all of the new content to be arriving soon. So make sure to let me know in the comment section below which child you'll be going for first. Personally, I'll definitely be going for Ramlethal, as she does seem to be the best character and I do love her looks the most, so I'll be sure to go for her first, and then we'll go for Millia second here on the channel. But before you go, everyone, make sure to leave a like on this video, as well as be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so already, and of course check out channel memberships down below if you're interested in further supporting the channel, as well as the links to my Twitter accounts, and of course Twitch livestream channel, and where we do live stream Destiny Child, so make sure to follow me there to stay tuned for future live streams. But with all of that being said, I'll catch you all in the next Destiny Child video. As always, thank you all so much for watching.